Hello and welcome back to Latina Voices Smart Talk. We have some wonderful interviews, some very timely topics. It's going to be a great show and we're so glad you're here. I'm Minerva Perez along with the other Latina Voices, Patricia Gras and Sofia Droguet.
Hello and welcome. Today we're talking about women's wellness, a healthy balance of the mind, body, and spirit that results in an overall feeling of well-being. Why? Because we are all searching for ways to feel better, be happier, and more productive in this economic morass.
And we're also talking about how to market yourself back to the top in the slumping job market. It's very important to know how to do that. And a new book tells us how. But first, it's time for Let's Talk.
I love to talk.
I know, me too.
As long as it's smart talk.
That's right,
Smart
that's right.
talk, and let me
Okay.
tell you how smart this one is.
Okay.
And I know how long ago it happened, but everybody is still talking months
I know,
later
I know.
about the inauguration and the history that was made that day in Washington, D.C. And Latina Voices was there. We have video to show you of an incredible event. It was the coldest day of my life.
What, 13 degrees?
It was 13 degrees in the morning. It was 20 degrees when Mr. Obama took the oath. I was jumping up and down. Luckily, I was close to the front,
Right.
and I got to see Oprah walk by and Caroline Kennedy walk by and some amazing people. And then there was a woman in a fur coat. This describes me every time. There was a woman in a full-length fur coat in a tree to get a better vantage point to see Obama take the oath.
And you know what I think is so magical about the experience? I think it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What's fascinating, though, although you were right there with all the fancy people, everyone felt, even it was like me, I was just watching it with the children. I had the luxury of having them with me. You know what? Everyone felt connected, engaged, and as if they could be there. My little one, Stefan, you know what he said to me afterwards? Mom, let's talk to President Obama. I want to go see the White House. As if it's right there and accessible, because that's the feeling of this country. It's for
Well, also what I heard was that there were people from all over the world. You know, you expect just Americans to be there.
I
There
ran
were
into
people from
Canadians,
Africa,
yes.
from Latin America, from Europe. I mean, and everybody was just having a great time. That's what I heard.
And every state was represented.
Right.
It was just an amazing event that we'll never see again. And that's why we're still talking about it. We're still proud of the fact that Latina Voices was there. I was invited to be there, and it was just an incredible thing. It's just an amazing event.
Well, and I also think, although months later, the reality is we've gone through so much, and unfortunately may go through more in the next several months, that it is nice to just focus on
something
that
positive.
Positive.
Exactly.
I mean, that panacea moment. And actually, Saturday Night Live, I don't know if you guys saw this, did this clip on everything happening, all the disasters, but then it go back to that
to this
moment.
magical moment.
I think that's what we're talking about this now. I mean, we've had months of terrible news,
Yes.
terrible economic news, and we'll
economy.
talk about the economy.
Yes.
But yeah, you always want to go back to something positive.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the economy. The stimulus package, it's been months since it was announced. Did it work? Did it not work? I don't think we're going to know for a long time. But I do know, I read that in the 1930s, during the Depression, 2/5 of the banks were allowed to fail. This is not happening with this package. We still have to give it some more time. But let's look at the positive side of this. People are saving more money.
Yes.
And
I know
we are closer to a healthcare reform package. I mean, you have to look at the bright side because it's been so negative. We have lower inflation, which means people will probably start investing in time.
I think it does allow you to focus on the things that truly matter, and you may take a little more time to be more time at home,
Right.
less
true.
going out, because you think about it.
Test how positive we have to remain.
We'll talk
missed
about
all
the
this.
economy in other shows as well, because this is
Yes.
an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to last a long time. I want to
Hopefully
talk
not,
about,
but-
yeah, I know. And there's lots of books being written about
Yeah,
this as well. And I want to know what you guys are reading, because I got to tell you what I'm reading.
Okay.
A friend of mine in Hollywood,
a
friend of mine in Hollywood called me. I used to live there. A friend of mine called me and she said, "You've got to pick up this book. You need some humor right now. America needs humor right now."
yeah.
I am reading Like a Lampshade in a Whorehouse.
Minerva, I don't even think you can use that word on TV.
I know, but that's the name of the book. I mean, this is the name of the book. It's Phyllis Diller's autobiographical look at her life.
What's the takeaway?
The takeaway is she went through hell as the first stand-up comedian as a woman, obviously, because she was up against men. And she also wants everybody to know that she was an ugly baby, one of the ugliest in the world. She said that when the doctor pulled her out, he didn't slap the baby, he slapped everybody around, the parents, because she was so ugly. I mean, it's just amazing. And she was so funny. She says, everybody thinks I'm Jewish. She says, I'm not. I'm a Christian. But okay, that's okay.
She had that accent.
Yeah.
All these stereotypes are so great.
To me. Okay, so what do you read?
Definitely a stereotype.
What do you read?
Well, I mean, I'm not as comedic as you are. I'm reading a spiritual book called The Art of Living: A Surrendered Life, Grace Unfolding by Paul Ferrini, and it basically reminds me to just focus in the moment. Live the moment.
Okay.
Well, no, and actually, right along, I'm definitely not so as funny as you, or don't even engage in such funny titles. Post-American World. It is an amazing book. It's authored by Fareed Zakaria. He's often on Newsweek. And in essence, what it talks about is, okay, first, the rise of the Western civilization, then the U.S., now it's the rest. And what happens is, how can we as U.S. still compete but get along with Africa, with Brazil, with Mexico, with India, with others? It's no longer just about us, it's about the world.
Right. It's about coalition.
Interesting reading.
Cooperation. Yeah.
Okay. Sophia?
Okay, well, we are excited about what's next on the horizon. On our wellness horizon is next, the new trend of wellness centers and medical spas. Worthy of scrutiny and consideration? Many think so, so do we. When we return on Latina Voices. Thank you.
Welcome back to Latina Voices. Our newsmaker is an issue heard almost daily on the news, talk shows, magazines. Everyone is talking about women's wellness.
More and more women are turning to day spas, summer stylist holistic centers that treat women on the inside and out. Advocating such taglines as "give us your body for a day, we'll give you back your mind." It figures, notes another fitness and wellness spa.
That's true, and there are major concerns though over HRT or hormone replacement therapy. You hear about it all the time. What about the natural way of getting through the headaches of being a woman, period?
Yeah, but we've invited two experts on the subject. Dr. Shalina Lalji is the founder of Wellness Center and Medical Spa, a new trend in medicine and dealing in complete women's wellness, and Dr. Jamie Summerfield, a traditional naturopath, an expert on nutrition and wellness. They're here to tackle this issue that affects millions of women the world over.
And ladies, my goal really, I don't want to focus so much necessarily on hormones or headaches. Because I really appreciate both your approaches. First, there's one that focuses, and I love this tagline, quality of life depends on the wellness of yourself, which I think is at the mission and crux of what you're trying to accomplish. And you're focusing on total wellness inside and out.
That's right.
We'd like to hear from the both of you of how you accomplish that, why we should worry about it, and even if you're not so fancy schmancy and can't afford all these things, how can we get there?
Well, there are many different ways to get there, but the journey is something that we have to really enjoy and participate in as a person, as a woman. We as women just have a lot of challenges. We grew up as being caretakers, and we are sort of trained mentally as being the caretakers, whether it's of our children, our families, our husbands, our parents, etc. We forget a very important person, and that's ourselves. And we as women really need to remember to do that for ourselves. And what I think is really important is to take a balanced but a very comprehensive approach where you look at yourself as a very important asset and the only real asset that you have, because without that, you can't give to anybody.
Modern medicine tends to just give you a pill and send you home. Is there another way? Is there another way to take care of ourselves, to complete that wellness?
What I have found over and over again, over 10,000 people that I've seen, is that we as women have fallen into a time where women are becoming known. We're becoming out of the house. We're having a career. We're having titles. We're becoming doctors. And we've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten who our center is, our core. And so a lot of my approach is so who are you? I know who you've become. Who are you? And how to combine the two pieces back together again. That might be just a conversation, that could be finding a diet, that could be finding out who they are, where are they from, what has that nationality person eaten forever, and bringing people back into who you are. Then you, forgive me, but marry your pieces and become much more powerful, much more centered, much more able to go out and give or serve.
We're going to get back in a minute, but we're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back.